Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a while, I think 2 months or so. I'm really sorry about that, and I know that I'm like 9 days late to this whole thing, but there's still 2018 that I need to talk about. We got movies, we got albums, and we got games, so expect at least three 2018 videos, and then I'll get into new stuff. I'm sorry this took so long to get out, but I'm here, and I am ready to do my top 10 movies of 2018. Coming in at my number 10 spot is Solo, a Star Wars story. Now, despite what a lot of people think, I love this film. I think it's Indiana Jones in space. I think that the lighting is beautiful. That was a lot of people's problem with it. They said that the film is very dark, it's hard to see. Personally, I thought it was easier on my eyes, honestly, and this is just so fun. I mean, it may not be the best Star Wars movie, and I think it's a fantastic one, but it's just a lot of fun, and it's kind of what I needed in a Star Wars movie. I thought it was fantastic. I thought the acting was incredible. It's probably got my favorite Star Wars score. I went back and listened to the score of this movie so much after I saw it because it is incredible. Every song is a perfect accompaniment to what is happening on screen. Solo Star Wars Story is just fun. It's shot well, it's edited well, the special effects are incredible. I loved Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo. I think the whole movie is a blast, and I love Solo A Star Wars Story. It takes my number 10 spot. Coming in at my number 9 spot is Maquia When the Promised Flower Blooms. Now, I won't talk too much about this because I already did a review on it, which is actually one of my most viewed videos, which is so awesome, so thank you for everyone who supported me on that. I just saw the trailer for it. I had it on my watch later on YouTube for like months, and when I finally decided to watch the trailer, I realized that it was coming to a movie theater near me, and I got out and saw it. It's a very melancholy film. The animation is beautiful, and the music is enough to see the movie alone. If you are a fan of anime or animation, I think that you will have a good time with this film. It honestly just like really hit me hard when I saw it, and I think that it's fantastic. I think that everyone should give it a shot. If you're a fan of anime, if you're not a fan of anime, go for it. I mean, if you want to, give it a try. I think that you kind of had to have a love for that stuff to really appreciate the movie and everything it was going for, but for the most part, I think that most people will enjoy it. I loved Maquia, and it's going to take my number 9 spot. My number 8 spot goes to Searching. This is actually one of the reasons that it took me so long to make this video, because I told myself that I needed to see this film before I made my top 10 movies of 2018, and I am so glad that I did. Searching is completely thrilling, and it's got the way of the style of filming is something that sounds so boring. Watching a whole movie through the perspective of someone's laptop sounds so dumb, but yet it is just absolutely incredible. Almost everything about Searching is just top notch. The acting is fantastic, the editing is just wonderful, and I honestly just couldn't have hoped for anything better. Usually, movies like this I can predict really easily, and there was nothing that I got right. I would have certain predictions, and it would get farther in the film, and they would get totally derailed and have nothing to do with what the movie actually ended up with. And that, I can give it props to alone. Searching is absolutely thrilling. It kept me on the edge of my seat for most of the movie. I mean, having something like this be so compelling, it's fantastic. It was so fresh and an idea that I had never really seen done well before, and I honestly just love Searching. It's going to take my number 8 spot. Coming in at number 7 is Avengers Infinity War. Now, what can I say about this movie that hasn't already been said? I mean, basically everyone has seen this movie. It's one of the highest grossing films ever. So that's pretty crazy. I honestly can't say much about this movie that I haven't already said because I did a review of it and it's been talked about for like the last 10 months. I absolutely love Infinity War. I think the fact that this is even a movie that came out, that we get to live in a time where a movie like this comes out and it's actually good, it's incredible on its own. The special effects are some of the best I've ever seen in a movie. I mean, there's some little things here and there that didn't look the best, but they used that $300 million budget well. Let's just say that. I think that Infinity War is extremely gripping. It's a very melancholy film compared to the rest of the MCU, which I really enjoyed. The acting's on point as always, and as well as the comedy, the action sequences are fun, and I really just love Infinity War. I mean, there's not a lot of people who don't. I think that it's fantastic, and it definitely deserves my number 7 spot. Coming in at my number 6 spot is Creed 2. Now, I'm going to say something that not a lot of people are saying. I think Creed 2 is better than the first Creed. Not a lot of people agree with me, and that's perfectly fine. Creed 2 just it was just incredible for me. I love the Rocky franchise. Probably my favorite Rocky movie is Rocky 2, and then I'd say after that might be Creed 2. The acting I just think is much better than the first movie. I think that the first movie still has great acting, but I just really felt for the characters in Creed 2. I think that the boxing choreography is awesome. I guess you could say the main villain, I don't know if you really call him a villain in the movie, but the main antagonist is just well fleshed out, and it's just like this is a scary movie to watch. It's not a horror film, it's a boxing film, but the things that happen in this, you're actually scared because you care about the characters, because the acting is amazing. I think that it might be Michael B. Jordan's best performance, at least for me it was. I thought that it was fantastic. Creed 2 is so exciting to watch. The editing is incredible, and I couldn't have asked for a better sequel to an already amazing boxing movie that topped the first one. Creed 2 is so fun. If you have any love for boxing movies, you need to go see it because it definitely deserves my number 6 spot. My number 5 spot goes to Bohemian Rhapsody. I was anticipating this movie from the second I saw the trailer. Queen is one of my very favorite bands of all time. I plan to do a video on them separately, just Queen, because after seeing this movie, I decided to go listen to 15 of their studio albums, and I would love to talk about my experience. Queen has always been one of my favorite bands. Some of my fondest music memories are sitting in the back of my grandpa's car, listening to Queen music, because every Queen song has something to offer. I mean, sure, there's some that I don't like, but you have to admire the work that went into this movie, especially. Like, this is one of the biggest bands ever, and to have a movie that's this good with a performance as incredible as Rami Malek's as Freddie Mercury, I think it might be one of my favorite performances I've ever seen. This is my favorite movie that I've ever seen that has to do with music or a band. I think it is absolutely incredible. I mean, I already loved Queen. I didn't think it was possible for me to love Queen any more than I already did, and this movie definitely was just eye-opening for me. I absolutely loved everything about it. The Live Aid sequence at the end is probably one of my favorite scenes of the year, if not my favorite. I loved Bohemian Rhapsody from start to finish, and if you are a Queen fan, you owe it to yourself to go see this movie. My number 4 spot goes to my favorite superhero, and this is my favorite Spider-Man movie. I absolutely love Into the Spider-Verse. I think it's probably the best animated film aside from anime films that has ever been made. It is absolutely incredible. The visuals are unbelievably stunning. The soundtrack is fantastic, and I think it's a great accompaniment. Everything about this, it is so funny. In the first like 10 minutes, I had already decided, I was like, okay, this is up there. I mean, you got like Raimi's original Spider-Man 2 and then Spider-Verse. Like, Spider-Verse is incredible. I like the animation is just so stunning. I've never really seen anything more beautiful. It's incredible. And as a Spider-Man fan, I don't think I've met a Spider-Man fan that doesn't like this movie. It is hard to not like this movie. It is incredible. The action sequences are so fantastic. I cannot express enough the funniness of this movie. It is just hilarious. There are so many funny things. It is a perfect movie for Spider-Man fans. I think this is something that I would love to see a sequel of. Definitely one of my favorite movies of the year, and I cannot wait to see this again and again and again. I loved Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's probably the best Spider-Man movie that has ever been made, and I definitely think it deserves my number 4 spot. My number 3 spot goes to one of the best action movies I have ever seen. I reviewed every single Mission Impossible leading up to this movie because I was really just so excited for it. I truly do think that Mission Impossible Fallout is one of the best action movies ever made. A lot of people say that the Mission Impossibles are getting repetitive, but that doesn't mean that they are any less entertaining. I think that Tom Cruise is absolutely amazing in every Mission Impossible, but in this one is just incredible. There is not a single moment where you are not entertained. Say what you want about what Tom Cruise does in real life. I do not care. He is one of the most dedicated actors that we have. He is absolutely incredible, and honestly, like, he's getting old, and it's not showing. He's doing crazier stuff every movie. This is my favorite in the Mission Impossible series, which is pretty crazy because Mission Impossible is one of my favorite film franchises. There is not a single scene that isn't amazing in this movie. The action choreography is amazing. The bathroom scene is probably one of my favorite scenes in like any movie. I could watch that all day, every day. Mission Impossible Fallout is so much fun, and it actually has a good plot, a good story, good characters, good acting, and amazing camera angles, shots, sound design, you name it. This movie is incredible, and it is definitely one of the best action movies I've ever seen. If somebody told me that my number two spot for my top 10 movies of 2018 would have been Mary Poppins Returns at the beginning of the year, I might have laughed at them. I mean, of course, I knew that my favorite actress was going to be amazing as Mary Poppins, but I did not know that I would love this movie as much as I did. This movie brought me to tears multiple times. I had a smile on my face throughout the whole thing. It's honestly, even just watching this trailer makes me emotional. I loved Mary Poppins Returns. I want to make a whole separate video on how much this movie means to me. I think that the music is absolutely incredible. Emily Blunt, when is she not fantastic? She's my favorite actress, so obviously I was so stoked to see this film. And the fact that it turned out as amazing as it did is just, it's so great. And this movie is just so wonderful and it's so fun. And it made me feel like a really, really young kid again. I mean, I'm still a kid, but it made me feel just so good. It's just such a heartwarming movie. And I mean, I know a lot of people don't like it because they say it's basically just like the first one. And although that's true, I love this movie. And I honestly kind of have a hard time explaining why. I think Mary Poppins Returns is just, it's beautiful and it's fun and the music is just so awesome. I don't listen to music like from movies like soundtracks like this and a musical ever after I see a movie like this, but I did. I listened to a lot of Mary Poppins Returns and I absolutely loved it. I could not have asked for Emily Blunt to give a better performance as Mary Poppins. She is amazing as always. This movie is just everything. I love it so much. I have a hard time talking about it. I loved Mary Poppins Returns. My number one movie of 2018, A Quiet Place. I'm going to make another separate video, even though it's almost a year since this movie has come out. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, and if I would have chose my different background for this video, you might have understood why. I felt like maybe showing my huge A Quiet Place poster in my room might have given away my favorite movie of the year. I have seen A Quiet Place 5 times now, and there has not been a single time where it hasn't gotten better. I notice little things about this movie every time I see it. I think it's got some of the best sound design that has ever been made. Holy crap, I love everything about this movie. I mean, my top two movies have Emily Blunt in them. She is my favorite actress, and John Krasinski, oh my gosh. Just, this is incredible. A Quiet Place is amazing. I love this movie more than anything. I think it's a modern horror movie masterpiece. The ending is so sleek. It's one of my favorite movie endings. I think it is so perfect, and I love nearly everything about it. I think that A Quiet Place is just, it's something for me that was just so different, and I really needed a movie like this that was so intense. I get goosebumps every time I watch this, even though I know it's going to happen, and there are little things that I forget about, and I come for a second time, and I'm like, whoa, I forgot about that scene. But every single scene in this movie is absolutely thrilling and incredible, and the acting is just, oh, it's so incredible. Even the kids just do a fantastic job, and honestly, I couldn't have asked for anything more with A Quiet Place. Although I could go on for multiple hours on how much I love this movie, a lot of people have already talked about it, I've already talked about it, and I'm actually going to be making another separate video about the A Quiet Place sequel that's coming out and my thoughts revolving around A Quiet Place. Like I said, A Quiet Place is actually one of my favorite movies of all time. It hits me every single time, and I think it's incredible. It is so beautifully filmed. There is not a single thing in this movie that is bad for me. I love it. A lot of people are going to disagree with me. I can't ask for anything better. And I am a little worried about the sequel, but we'll get into that later. A Quiet Place definitely deserves my favorite movie of the year. Once again, it is one of my favorite movies of all time. Movies are honestly my life, so that's really saying something. I mean, I have a huge poster of A Quiet Place in my room. Emily Blunt is fantastic. John Krasinski is fantastic as an actor and a director. I could not say any more about A Quiet Place. I love it more than anything. Okay, so we did it. We made it through my first video back. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I know 2018 is over, but I still have some things that I need to talk about. Check in maybe tomorrow or the next day. I promise it won't be 2 months this time for my top 10 games of 2018. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to be putting them in order just yet, but we'll have to see. Thank you guys so much again for watching. This has been my top 10 movies of 2018. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.